What is up, NFL fans, and welcome back to another episode of The Way We See It. I'm Jeff Hartman, joined by Wesley Coleman. What's up, Wesley? How are you?
I'm good, man. We got to some rookie mini camp. We got to see some people, catch some balls and run around. The Saints signed a new wide receiver that is the son of Scott Steiner, the WWE legend. So
Oh,
that's pretty fun.
the Steiner brothers. I remember those guys.
Yeah, the Big Papa Pump. It's his
Yeah.
dad.
That's hysterical. So rookie mini camps are a wrap. I know not every team has had their rookie mini camps. It depends on what, if you like, for instance, the Steelers with Mike McCarthy, new coach, they get to bump everything up a little bit. The Saints had theirs, yes.
Yep.
Okay. Well, it's the fan segment right off the bat. See anything interesting from rookie minicamp?
Well, yeah, Jordan Tyson showed up the first day and looked awesome, and just like he looked like a true first round pick around a bunch of guys that might be trying to make a team. The Saints did sign every one of their draft picks, so that's really exciting. And then Jordan Tyson missed the second day. Some people were saying it was a soft tissue injury. The Saints are saying it was a scheduled maintenance day. It's a 2-day camp, and he's scheduled to miss the second day. I don't know. I don't like it. Well, we'll see in a couple weeks. As long as he's practicing, it's fine. But this is
injury prone already. That's hysterical.
Did the Steelers have their mini camp?
They did.
If
did.
So, who was throwing the ball?
Only one person. They normally invite another arm.
Yeah.
But no, it was just Drew Aller. It was actually really interesting to me from a fan's perspective. It was Mike McCarthy and Tom Arth, the quarterback's coach, and they were just working with Drew Aller one-on-one. Yeah. It's like you got a first-hand look at, we are going to break this guy down, and we are having to build him up from the ground up. And they were doing the footwork stuff and the drills, and a lot of people were saying, this guy looks so slow and so sluggish. His drop is horrible. And he had former NFL players like Kurt Warner, Ben DiNucci, who played for Mike McCarthy in Dallas for a brief stint. Like, look, guys, this is how it works. You work slow and then you speed it up. I thought it was actually fascinating. Do I think that Drew Aller is the next franchise quarterback? I don't. I just found it interesting seeing it in almost real time because it was all individual work. The media are allowed to film that. So, it was pretty fascinating. Other than Aller, there was nothing notable from the Pittsburgh. Well, Jennings Dunker's mullet is pretty fantastic. Other than that, nothing. It's nothing. So, but all right, let's talk schedule. That's what we're talking about on this podcast. The NFL schedule is slated to be released Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. They're slowly leaking games. We know like the first Monday night is going to be Denver and Kansas City, which I found to be very interesting because not only is Bo Nix banged up, but that tells us the NFL is pretty confident that Patrick Mahomes will be ready as well.
Right.
Of the games that have already been released, have any caught your fancy? I know we're going to get Philly and Dallas on Thanksgiving with more games to be released as of this being recorded. What are your thoughts?
I have not been keeping up with all the leaked ones. I did see I did see that. I saw the Cowboys and Eagles on Thanksgiving, which yes. I think that's a pretty big one because a lot of times you never know who the Cowboys are playing on Thanksgiving. Could be awful.
Wasn't that the Black? No, that wasn't the Black Friday game. The Eagles were in the Black Friday game. Was it against Seattle last year?
Something like that. I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
So the Giants are going to be the first Sunday night football game of the year. I mean, again, the Jackson Dart hype is so big right now. Also in his like collectibles market with sports cards and all is crazy. The value for a guy who had okay numbers and wasn't one of the two best quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks at least. So it's just kind of crazy there. But and then of course we've seen the international games as well. And I guess the first Thursday night football game of the year is going to be Bills and Lions.
We still don't know what the kickoff game is going to be yet. We don't know who Seattle's going to play in that game. And it's been slowly as these games are being announced. So, for instance, week 1, you talk about the Sunday night game with Dallas and New York. Well, if the Seattle Seahawks are in some way that they're playing one of those teams that eliminates them, we're going to find out more. And then again, they slowly release these games. But any final thoughts on that before we go on?
I wanted that kickoff game to be Seattle versus the Chiefs. I really wanted to see Kenneth Walker against his old team. I thought, how many fun stories are going to be? That would have been a great story. Listen, like Seahawks Rams, let's do it. Like this is the defending champ. It's the one.
It can't be that one because the Rams are playing the Niners. But I know you can't.
But like, I mean, there's a couple of things that looked like they would be fun. Like just go ahead and start with a big banger. But I mean, do you care about early in the year, late in the year, when those divisional games start creeping in? Or
I do care. I hate early season divisional games. I think that the NFL should put a rule in place that states that no neutral site games should ever be a divisional game. So
okay,
the fact that you're in Australia in Melbourne and you're having the Rams and 49ers play, like, come on. Like, if you're playing a divisional game, not only does that have huge ramifications, especially in the NFC West, which is one of the best divisions in football, but you're also taking away a home game in a divisional atmosphere. I hate that. I can't stand that. So I think that's one thing that needs to be done in moving forward, especially with all the talk of an 18 game schedule and every team playing an international game. I think there has to be something put in place. Like, okay, the divisional games are not going to be played internationally. I don't know. Do you agree or disagree with that?
yeah, I mean, it sounds good in theory. My problem would be, or my thought would be, like, where do we end up drawing the line? Because so if we're saying that these divisional games are too important for one person or one team to be at a disadvantage, where does that change? So then it's like, well, if it can't be neutral site, then, well, what if one of the divisional teams has a bye before or after the divisional game? And then what if, one of them has to travel further? I don't know. I at some point these people got to, I mean, play the game, and I get what you're saying, and I just don't know where I want to draw the line. In divisional games, you're always going to have two games against that opponent and back and forth. So, like, I was wondering if you'd be a fan of, your first games that you played of the year, your first 4 games are against divisional, and then your last, or first 3 and your last 3, or anything like that. But
Well,
no,
if
you want to get a
set
warm
it up like that, I would be totally fine with it. If you said your divisional games are going to be in the front and the back end, let's bookend the season with divisional games, I'm on board. But what sucks is when you have these instances. I'll go back 2 years ago for Pittsburgh, just because it's what I know. The Steelers had no divisional games, and then there was one, I think, around week 7. And then in the back half of the regular season, I think their final 6 out of 8 games, 5 out of 8 games were all divisional games. Hated it. Couldn't stand it, man. These are important games. If you were to say, like you just mentioned, hey, we're going to have the first 3 games and the last 3 games all divisional, then let's do it. I
kind of like that. You get everybody when they're ramping up. Maybe you get everybody when they're healthy to start the season. Or if there's somebody that's not, then you get them when they're healthy to end the season. If they weren't healthy to start, I just think that would be,
I think and I think the international games, especially right now with the 17 game schedule, when you think about the 17 game schedule, you have these weird, okay, one conference is getting an extra home game. Okay, then why don't you make those the matchups that are going to be international games? And so then everyone has an even slate in regards to all this, extra, all this stuff. I just feel like for me, it's like, I know the NFL is trying to get as many eyeballs as possible on their product, and I don't blame them for that. But I think that there could be a little bit more of a system to it that would make sense, and it would make it more, I don't want to use the term equitable, but at least an even playing field. I don't know. What's your take?
No, I do like that. I think that probably I have more problems with, I would, the 18 game season and each team having one home preseason game is probably something I care more about. I hate season ticket holders having to every other year buy 2 preseason games that nobody cares about. I mean, I think, I don't know. I just think that it's about to become, there's so many games and everybody's going to play the international games. It's just going to even out over a couple of years. And we just got to just kind of accept it, that it's part of the sport. And as long as the Super Bowl doesn't get played anywhere outside of the US, then I'm kind of good with that.
Absolutely. And I think the funny thing is you brought up the week 1 kickoff game and you thought Seattle versus Kansas City, the Kenneth Walker storyline. I would have been the first one to say, no, like, they're not going to do that because you don't know if Patrick Mahomes will be healthy enough to play. But then they put him on Monday night. So clearly they put him in a primetime slot in a divisional game in the AFC West. They think he's going to be healthy enough to play. So I feel like that could have been a missed opportunity. We'll see which direction they go for that kickoff game. Again, as of this being recorded, that has not been released yet.
So you don't think that week 1 game is going to be Justin Fields versus Jarrett Stidham?
Oh gosh, could you imagine? That's why I'm shocked they put these teams there. If it was,
but I said this, they were delaying it because they had to be. It's the only thing that would make sense is they were waiting on a little little hint of health.
Maybe. So, okay. Now, let's talk about the bye week. First and foremost, this is the first thing I look for when the schedule gets released. When do the Steelers have a bye? What's the sweet spot for you? Where do you want the bye week if you could choose?
Just after the halfway point. I really like it. So week 10 to 12, maybe 13 range, kind of something like that.
It feels like the Steelers always have an early bye week. Last year it was in week 5 after they played in Ireland in week 4, which I guess brings up another question. Do you think that
apparently teams get the option when they do those? Do you want your bye week to be the week after your international game? I mean, would you? Is that what you would choose? Do you think the Steelers actually requested that?
According to team president Art Rooney II of the Pittsburgh Steelers last year, they did not have a choice.
That's weird.
And he publicly said, "Hey, like because I was under the same assumption you were, and that is, you get to choose. You're playing an international game. What do you want to do?" And in this regard, he was like, "No, we didn't have a choice. We had no choice. We were basically told you're going to have a bye after week 4's game over in Dublin. Whether they would have chosen that, I don't know. But at the same time, I don't know if it's as clear cut as we thought it was once upon a time."
What's your feeling on international travel? Do you want your team to the week before finish their Sunday game and get right over there? Do you want them to go later, like keep your regular travel schedule, even though it's twice as long a flight? Just keep the regular travel schedule. What do you think?
I think it should be an option for the club. I feel
like it is. No, I was saying, what would you want
what would I prefer?
The team does get to choose, and there's some teams like I think there's some teams have been like, we're already on the East Coast, we're just heading to Europe, and there's some teams that have done kind of
the Rams did that last year, didn't they? They played in Baltimore, and then they went from Baltimore overseas. I think
straight over, yeah.
And then they got a bye week, I think, after that trip.
Right.
I mean, for Pittsburgh, the trip to Ireland actually was not as long.
By the way, the Rams did really good in that game when they went overseas.
Well, yeah, we talked about it last year. I remember on the preview for that week, we said, man, they're going to struggle on the East Coast because that's typically when they do, but they won in Baltimore, and then they went overseas and they dominated over there as well. I don't think there's a right or wrong, to be honest with you. I mean, I think it does depend on where you are located in terms of the United States. If you're an East Coast team, it's probably a little bit easier. It's not as long of a flight. I think they said that the flight over to Ireland was around 6. On the way back, it was a little bit longer because you're fighting the jet stream. That's not horrible. I mean, what's the difference between that and flying to California for a game in LA?
It's got to be longer than that because I mean,
They said it wasn't as long as people thought. Ireland is not as far east.
They can do they can afford to get like one of the super jets that goes faster and get them over there quicker and all that kind of stuff. I think I can see any of the options. One, which is get over there as soon as possible. I just think that leads to more distractions and we're making too big of a deal about the time change because you're not going to acclimate in that amount of time. I can see the case of just keep your regular schedule because that kind of keeps you moving. My favorite, I think, because that time change, I mean, I think you don't even mess with the time change. I think you fly over there, you get down, you do a practice, you go to sleep, you wake up and you play a football game, and then you get the hell out of there. Now, nobody's going to want to do that because you're like, I'm in Europe. I want to have a few days to hang out and do things before or after the game and all. But if you're just interested in winning a game, I think getting over there, getting to sleep, playing a game, and then getting out of town is the smart thing.
See, so the Steelers last year, we learned a lot. The Steelers did not play overseas since 2013, prior to last year's game in Dublin. They had played in London against the Minnesota Vikings, which is funny because that's who they played last year in Ireland in 2013, and they lost. And there were all these reports about, the Steelers went over later, the Vikings went over earlier. So this past year, not only did Art Rooney say that the Steelers had no choice in whether they get a bye week afterwards, that they were forced to take the bye in week 5, but also reports came out that the Steelers were told you cannot travel overseas until this day.
Yeah.
And
that's weird. I don't believe
it is weird.
The Saints have done multiple games and they've talked about they made decisions. They were asked if they wanted the bye after. They made decisions on when they went over and when they left. Oh, that's kind of weird. Do you think that it was impacted at all by the Steelers and Vikings, neither one being good at football last year?
Well, wait a second. Steelers did win their division. I mean, come on now. But that was a huge game between Aaron Rodgers and Carson Wentz. I mean, that was headline stuff. I mean, who over there doesn't want to go see Carson Wentz play an international game, right? But
I got up at 7 a.m. to watch that one.
hey, I was already up, man. I was ready. It's actually not bad. I love those days where you have games all day. You've got the early game, and then it bleeds into the 1 o'clock slate, the 4 o'clock slate. You could just be a zombie on the couch for the entire day. Anything else when you get the Saints schedule? So Wednesday, when the Saints schedule is released, I said the bye week is the first thing I look for. What's the first thing you look for?
So home opener, because I'm at the home opener every single time.
Okay.
And then I start figuring out if they've got the Thanksgiving or Christmas game, and if I'm going to take my family to those wherever they're at, whether it's New Orleans or on the road, because I know that that's built into my daughter is out of school and I can take her to a game and we can travel and do stuff like that without her missing days of school. And then, I mean, mine is I live in Dallas-Fort Worth and travel to New Orleans for a lot of games, and I always pick a road game to go to every year. So I start looking at, a couple of years ago, the Saints were playing at Lambeau Field. I was like, I'm going to that game whenever it is, even if it's the first week of January. Luckily, it was like week 4, so it was beautiful. I did not have to deal with the weather. But I'll start just looking at those things. I'm starting to make my travel schedule and which weekends I'm going to be in New Orleans. I also start pairing up, because I'm a big college football fan, I start pairing up LSU and Saints games, seeing if there's weekends they both play at home. So again, I can travel and hit both games on a back-to-back Saturday, Sunday, which is just exhausting and awful to do, but worth it. So mine is travel schedule. I start looking at first.
Hey, that's fine.
And then we start building, looking at the division and what it looks like. Start looking at, is week 17 a week that we can rest? I mean, can we have the division locked up by then? I don't really. Has been a few years since I've done that though. But that's what I used to do.
Right. Exactly.
What about you? What are your kind of ticking points that you're looking for? Obviously, this year you're going to look at when the Steelers are playing in New Orleans, because you're going to join me there for the game.
Like I said, you pay my way, I'll be there in a heartbeat. No, but seriously, when I get the schedule, first thing I look for is the bye week. It's always been that way ever since I remember getting. It was in the paper, and you would get the refrigerator magnet with the schedule on it. Like, it was okay. When do they have a bye? Now, as a content creator, I look at, okay, let's look at holidays. You want the holiday game? I do not. Please, Lord, no games on Christmas. No games on Christmas Eve, and let's avoid Thanksgiving. I'd be okay with Black Friday, but no games on Thanksgiving, please. Now, after that, it's in how many primetime games do they have? Steelers typically carry your allotment of 5. All right, how many, you're looking at when is the Thursday night game? Is it on the road or is it at home? I then start to dissect it in that regard. So primetime games, and then it trickles down to division. I always love to see how the NFL does in terms of, let's say they have a stretch of road games. How many are there? Do they have 3 straight road games? That's tough, especially if 2 out of the 3 are division games. Or is it pretty even in terms of home, away? I don't know. Those are some of the things that I look for. I get excited for the schedule release. I'm not going to lie. It's one of my, outside of like the big events, the draft and stuff like that, I love the schedule release. I love looking at who the NFL is putting in elite spots. We're talking your primetime games. Ever since, do they still have the rule where you have to have one primetime game? I thought they got rid of that.
Yeah, you have to have one.
Do you? Okay.
Wait, no.
I don't think
maybe
you do.
not. I thought.
I don't think Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee had a
somebody who didn't have one last year. So
yeah, I look forward to seeing things like the week 1 game where we're talking about on Monday night. Bo Nix should be healthy. Patrick Mahomes, they're talking to Kansas City and saying, hey, what's it look like? And Kansas City had to tell the NFL, we can't guarantee anything. Setbacks do happen, but right now he's tracking to be in the lineup as the starting quarterback in week 1. Okay, Monday Night Football. So I think that's fascinating. I also think it's fascinating they have these 5 games, these blocks of games that are being divvied up amongst the different broadcasting areas. Netflix is grabbing a game. I think, aren't they grabbing Black Friday, Netflix? Or is that YouTube? I haven't even kept up with. There's a lot of debates and NBC got an extra game. Fox is getting an extra game.
Right.
Yeah. So when are those games? Those are going to be standalone games. They're going to have Saturday games in week 15, 16, 17, and 18 this year. I do. I'm not going to lie. If there's a geek out moment of the NFL offseason for me, it's the schedule release. I do think it's fun.
Yeah, I like it. I'm excited about it. It also helps that it's kind of like in a little bit sort of a dead period where it's after the draft and we're kind of, so it's a good time.
Yeah, because after this, then you get mandatory minicamp, and then we hit the real lull, and that is from early June until mid-July when teams report to training camp.
One thing that I was going to say when we were talking about the rookie stuff is, I don't know if you saw this week, but Jeremiah Love signed his contract. It's a 4-year, $53.9 million deal. Now, the $13.25 million per year makes him the 7th highest paid running back, but the $53.9 million guaranteed is the most ever guaranteed to a running back in NFL history.
Wow.
Because other running backs might get a higher AAV, but only 1.5 years of it are guaranteed and all like that. It's the highest guarantee forever for a running back, and he hasn't done anything.
And
he's going to be on the Cardinals.
And he's it's a slotted rookie contract. That is mind-boggling now that you say that. I mean, absolutely wild.
Crazy. I thought that was.
All right. Do you want to hold? You want to hold the remaining free agents for next week and do that debate, or do you want to do it now?
That'll be fun. Do you want to see it? So my question is, and people can look at this and debate on their own. Could you take from the remaining free agents right now and make a team that wouldn't be the worst team in football? It's interesting. Now,
another
you're
hint.
waiting on is you're hoping that in a week from now, Aaron Rodgers will be signed, and then I won't be able to have a quarterback. Which is
you said Russie's out there, Russell Wilson, but he might sign with the Jets. They have an offer. He's choosing between
sign before Aaron Rodgers.
Man, I saw him playing. He took an at bat for the Savannah Bananas not too long ago.
Yeah,
that dude looks rough. Like, I mean, he can't run, he can't move. That guy was drafted, mind you, but wasn't it the Texas Rangers that drafted him in baseball?
Yep.
He doesn't look like he can play. Put it that way. Last question here before we, leading up to the schedule release. What do you think of strength of schedule rankings? You sent me this image, and for us, it has the opponent's winning percentage last year. Now I'm going to go with Warren Sharp. If you follow Warren Sharp on social media, Twitter especially, he does his own strength of schedule rankings, not based on wins and losses from last year, but looking at the Las Vegas sports books projected win totals for 2026. And I think that's way more accurate. Do you put any stock into that, or you just think that's just another fun debate?
I think they're both equally inaccurate and both fun to debate. I think that you can turn your team around a whole lot from one season to the next. And I also think that throughout the season, you can have a lot of injuries or mishaps and go the wrong way. So I don't think either one's necessarily accurate, but they're both fun to debate.
The Saints have a pretty easy strength of schedule according to opponents' win percentage last year at 0.434. It's the second easiest schedule.
Yep, easiest to the Browns, which is good. I'm listen. It also matters too, like where you finish in your division and kind of all that kind of stuff kind of factors in. But I'd rather be on the bottom of this list with projected easiest strength of schedule than on the other side.
That's true. That is very true.
Steelers kind of right in the middle. With, but also too, we can both sit there and say, like, you can say, well, that Steelers one is based on their division, which didn't have Joe Burrow for most of last year, and what teams have improved. Are the Browns actually going to be improved? Like that makes that interesting there. Same thing with, the Saints. That's the one thing that I feel good about with the Saints is I know ours is low because our division's terrible. Like, and I don't believe in Tampa Bay, Atlanta, or Carolina. So just kind of part of it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I don't put too much stock into that. It is a fun debate, but it's not anything I think that is, absolutely dire. But all right, man.
Two teams, the Dolphins and Cardinals, that are projected to be terrible, have the second and third hardest strength of schedule.
How does that happen?
It's weird.
Oh
well, they're divisions. It's their divisions. They're both playing in divisions of three teams fighting for playoff spots.
The Dolphins in the AFC East?
Oh, well, maybe not.
I got the Cardinals. I understand the NFC West.
The Jets could be much improved.
Yeah, right. All right. What's coming up for you, Wesley? Anything fun? The Dome Patrol podcast?
No, I mean, it's just making this. We're going to overreact to the Jordan Tyson news. We're going to talk about the quarterback competition that isn't a competition. Tyler Shuck's getting a lot of love. He's doing great with his interviews and talking. He's had an incredible offseason of kind of getting loved by the city of New Orleans and all this. So we'll be it's good. Just kind of making it through, though. Obviously, we'll overreact to the schedule release, and then we'll get out there and do some schedule predictions and where we're going to finish first, and if we're going to have a first round bye, if we're going to have to just host somebody in the first round. I don't know. What about you? What's going on with the Steelers?
I don't know. Aaron Rodgers is still out there, but hey, real quick before I plug my social media, who's your pick for the PGA Championship this weekend?
Is Tiger playing?
Of course not.
He's not out of rehab.
He's in rehab again.
Give me Jordan Spieth.
Oh, completing the career Grand Slam. Really?
Gonna do it.
No chance in hell. I'll go with Cameron Young to win. I'll go.
I thought you only supported one golfer.
What? No, that's not true. If they're American, I'm all about it. Like Cam Young is, he's an American. I like Cam Young.
American are gonna be able to get the cup.
The Ryder Cup in 2027 with Jim Furyk as the captain.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. If you want to hear,
you like what's going on with the Ryder Cup team.
No, do not bring that up. But if you want to check out some of my takes and stuff like that, find me on Twitter at jhartman HARTMAN_PIT, as well as the Steel Curtain Network, wherever you get your podcast. Wesley, man, it's been a fun show. We'll talk next week. Take it easy.
See you next week.